Evening. This is a late one tonight. I'm hiding from my son because this is a surprise to him, but I'm having a practice run before his birthday next week. So for his birthday next week, we were meant to be going scuba diving up to an aquarium so he could scuba dive with sharks, which he's always wanted to do, and unfortunately it's been cancelled. So instead, we've decided to do a forest school day with him because he loves the outdoors. So we're going to do wood whittling, we're going to do den building, and we are going to do pewter casting, which is what we're doing at the moment. So I'm going to teach you tonight how to do basic pewter casting. Now, the pewter casting kit you can get on that well-known superstore. Names should not be mentioned. And it comes with 2 clamps, which you're going to need to hold your casting kit together. It comes with little bits of wood, again quite handy. I mean, any ply will do, but they give you these little bits of hardboard and some MDF as well. And it comes with your little ladle, which is a melting pot as such, but it's also got this little edge here. I don't know if you can see it there, like a little lip, which makes it much easier for pouring. To be honest with you, any pan will do, but smaller is better, and that kind of works. It also comes with some loosening powder, but we're not going to need that because we are going to be making our designs today in cuttlefish. Yes, those things that you stick in a cage for parrots, but they're also really good for casting because they're really soft and easy to engrave. So pewter itself, again ordered from that special online superstore that's still delivering, which is amazing, is made up of 3 metals: tin, antimony and copper. So antimony gives it the durability and copper gives it the hardness. So that's why it's kind of this alloy that mixes, but it's got a really low melt, so it's ideal for working on at home. Now, you don't have to work outside. I've chosen to work outside, A, because I don't want my son to see what we're doing. This is a practice run, and B, just because I kind of like doing this kind of messy stuff outside. My husband likes me to do the messy stuff outside, let's be honest. I've put 2 bits of wood down on the table because we've got a glass table, and obviously if the hot metal hits the glass table, it's going to shatter the table. And our plan next week is to actually do this over an open fire, so I'll let you know how that goes. But for today, I'm going to be using a little Calagas camping stove, which I'm going to show you here. Right, so the first thing you're going to need to do is your cuttlefish is rounded. Let's tip you up again so you can see properly. Now, black's working well for me today because it means you can see. So the cuttlefish is rounded, and we actually want one side to be flat. So the easiest way to do that is just to sand it. So I'm using an 80 sandpaper here. So I'll do an 80 and I'll go down to, I think I've got 240. So you want quite rough to get rid of the worst of it, and then something smooth just to give you a nicer surface. So I'm just going to bend you down so you can watch. And it will happen quite quickly. So as you can see, it's very noisy. So that's flat already. You can see that. So just bang that off. It will smell slightly fishy when you're doing it. Then I'm just with my 240 going to finish it off so I've got a smoother finish. You don't have to do this, but I prefer to. So here we go. So I've now got my cuttlefish. Now you can press things into this. So just about anything you press in, I don't know if I've got, let's see if my ring will work. So you can actually press your design in, or you can engrave a design into it. Oh, see, look, I've got that stuck. Oh, sorry, it's only an engagement ring. I'll fish that out later. Or you can engrave a design in. So I have just engraved a little spider's web, really bad design, but it was a quickie last night that I was trying to get done so that I had something to demonstrate with. I'm really concerned about this ring. Oh yeah, here we go. Oh no, it's not coming out. Right, now what you may notice, there we go, ring, see, look, ring. What you're going to notice is you need somewhere to pour it in. So I have made here, can you see, a little funnel at the top, and it has to lead down into your first groove because you're literally going to pour the molten pewter into the top, and then it will slowly trickle down and fill all your grooves. So if I wanted to do it with this one here, I'm tilting you down again just because it's much better than watching my face. Not that my hands are much better looking than my face. But I'm actually going to use this to make my groove. And you want it to be slightly wide at the top because it will make it easier for pouring. Right, now I would use proper tools, but I've left them upstairs because I don't think I was going to be demonstrating how to do this bit, if I'm honest, because I had my demo piece already done Blue Peter style. So if we then when you've done that, you need a piece of wood that you can clamp against it. Now this is you need to make sure that you've got a fairly good seal there, because you don't want the pewter being able to run out. So we're going to work with the one that I did yesterday because it's a better quality, because I took a bit more time with it, and I've got a slightly bigger hole that I can work with. Can you see that there? Just a little hole. Right. And I'm going to clamp it together. And I'm going to clamp it on both sides because I want it to be very firmly done. Now some of you may have done this before. My husband saw this and got very excited because apparently when he was little, and Jesus was a boy, the friend of his used to make little figures for like little knights and stuff. So yeah, apparently that's what he used it for. So I've only ever done bits of jewellery and stuff with it. So that's quite firmly clamped. I say firmly, they're wobbling a bit there actually. Any kind of clamps will do, you don't have to use those ones, but they're just a bit easier. Right, so at this point we're going to go over to our hob, and I'm going to shimmy you over. Now, just let me move you over to here. So I would make sure everything is in place. I don't want to take it too close because then I can't work. Now what I've also got is, oh, look, there's the sky. A walnut husk, and we're going to have a go with that. Now I've never done this kind of casting before, so this will be an experiment for me as well. And I'm literally going to pop my pewter, which is actually a bit long, into my pewter pot, but it will slowly go down. So please have, oh thank goodness, I didn't know if there's going to be enough gas. So I'm just tilting mine a little bit. I would recommend you cut it off. And it will take a little while. So what I might do is I'm going to pause you, because otherwise you're just sitting watching a pot boil literally, and I will come back to you in just a moment. Hi, now we're back. It's not quite melted, but it's just on, it will suddenly just happen. So we have got at the moment a solid stick still, which you may be able to see, and then as we heat it, it will just suddenly, there it goes. I love this bit. And then we have liquid metal, which is just so satisfying. So I'm tipping you down a bit more so you can see. So there we go. And at this point, all we're going to do is we're just going to very carefully pour it into our mould. Now actually I've got far too much pewter here, but that's not to worry, because next week when I do it, oh yeah, I'm overflowing now. So just give it a little tap to make sure it goes all the way down. Now, let me turn the heat off, and a hot flush there. Ooh. Right, so this takes time to cool down, obviously not a huge amount of time if I'm honest. Oh, can you see me? Sorry, hi. Yeah, so I've got one that I popped out just a little bit earlier, and I don't know if you can see, that's my little spider's web. Now I can see here that there's little sections, that the little broken spider's web, if somebody stuck their finger through it. I can see that this needs to be a little bit deeper. So when I do it next time, I'll just carve in a little bit deeper, because obviously it just hasn't picked up, hasn't left enough of a gap for the pewter to run round. Now the back of it's very shiny, the front not so much, so you can polish them up. And this little spur here is the channel that it went into. Let me see if this should be cool enough, hopefully. And any little bits that drip off like that have overspilled, that I've dropped on my surface like this. Let me just check it's not too hot. Yep. They can just get thrown back in the pot and you can use them again next time. That's the great thing about pewter. And the nice thing is, because it's lead free these days, because we're not allowed to use lead obviously, it stays shiny, whereas lead is what used to make it go that kind of grey colour. So just get a little hacksaw and see, I'm just going to snap it off, and it will just cut off. So you can then use that to hang, or you can actually leave it on if you like and drill a hole through it, and then it can become a pendant. Right, I'm actually going to, I did do the walnut. I think that's going to involve the shell being broken off later. Ow, and it's still quite warm. So I just held the walnut shell in place with a piece of blue tack, just so you're aware. So that is pewter casting, and hopefully by next Thursday we should have a whole host of stuff and we can show you a little bit more. But it really is easy. I would say it's for older kids and adults. Really therapeutic. You could do all your carving beforehand and then just knock out loads of bits and pieces. See this one actually doesn't have a gap in it. What you will find is, after you've used your moulds a couple of times, can you see here, my cuttlefish has actually started to crumble. So it's only really good for a couple of uses, but it's fun, it's quick. Let me see that. There we go. And it gives some really, really impressive results. Now, as I say, this one I just knocked out in about 5 minutes. So if you take your time, you can get some beautiful stuff. But there's a fantastic book by a lady called Fleur Grenier, called Pewter Designs and Techniques, and it's got loads of background knowledge about it all. It's got how it's made professionally, and then it's got bits you can do, and one of the things that she makes are the most amazing coasters, like for sticking your cups and stuff on, and they are absolutely beautiful. I mean, all of her design work is beautiful, but her coasters, really simple and something that you could do at home. I mean, the other thing that you can emboss into your cuttlefish if you want to is if you're a rubber stamper, and you've got some quite deep stamps, you can actually press those in and they give some really nice effects. So I'm going to leave you to it. Hopefully Amazon will suddenly see other online stores are available. We'll suddenly see a peak in people buying stuff for pewter casting. And I would love to see your results. So if you go onto my Facebook page, which is Mona Witten Arts and Events, and I'd love it if you'd message me and show me some of the bits and pieces that you've been doing, if you do it. And if you do, I'm happy to share those on the Facebook page as well. So I look forward to seeing your results. Thank you.